Good morning, YouTube. This is GHombre coming to you today with today's predictions of the divisional playoffs. Another weekend jam full of great matchups. We made it. The final 8 teams have arrived. The final 8 teams. We have Baltimore, the Patriots, the Colts, the Broncos, the Panthers, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Packers. By the way, a little bit of a side note. This is the third time in the last 20 seasons where the home teams are favored by 6.5 points. Saturday's games in one video, Sunday's games in another video. Hope to make it short and sweet. Pretty much try to get down just to the main points. So first game on tap, 1:35 NBC. We have the number 6 Ravens going into the number 1 Patriots, Foxborough. A little bit of history in this matchup. This is the fourth time in the last 6 seasons that these teams have met in the playoffs. The first 3 matchups pretty much favor the Ravens. They won 2 out of 3. Um, counting the 2013 season where they won the Super Bowl. Not a very good season for me since the Niners lost that Super Bowl. But enough about that. Let's go to the main story. This matchup favors the Patriots for 20 more touchdowns than they've allowed. Their turnover ratio is plus 12, meaning they've taken the ball away 12 more times than they've given it up. On the flip side, the Ravens have a plus 16 touchdown ratio, so they've scored 16 more than they've allowed. Surprising that the Ravens' turnover ratio is only a plus 2. It's not that high. These games usually come down to the team that makes the most mistakes and the team that capitalizes on them, right? So, Patriots are a plus 7.5 favored, but my gut's telling me something different. Something about this Ravens team. When it comes down to it, down to the nitty gritty, the playoffs, they come together. They are built for the playoffs. The running game um, was kind of a big factor against the Steelers, but I'll say that it'll even be a bigger factor in this game. I think that's what's gonna establish their offense, going to keep their defense as fresh as possible. Um, I don't know. I just feel that they're going to pull out the upset. I feel that the Ravens just have that it factor. This would be a big surprise in the NFL, I think, just because the Patriots, um, they're probably the best team in the playoffs as a team. They have star players, obviously, like Brady and Gronkowski. I mean, that guy is just amazing. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I mean, he made his name in the playoffs. Um, and I don't know who the Ravens have to cover Gronk. I don't know if there's anybody that can cover Gronk in the NFL, to be honest. This man is he's a man amongst boys. He he makes it look easy out there. But I also thought that the Steelers were gonna dominate that secondary of the Ravens, and um, the Ravens again, they just put pieces together where it may not make so much sense to an outsider looking in, but it worked, and I think they'll have just enough. I mean, the 2 times that they played in Foxborough, the Ravens won in the playoffs. The one loss they have was at home. So again, not gonna put too much weight into that, but I don't know. I just see the Ravens pulling up the upset. Um, uh, Terrell Suggs is gonna be probably besides the run game of the Ravens. I say Terrell Suggs is gonna be the player to watch for the Ravens, and then I have a couple players to watch for New England. Gronkowski, obviously, because I don't think anyone can cover him, but the Ravens know that, so they're gonna put 2 men on him. They're gonna put a spy. They're gonna do all they can to minimize the damage that Gronkowski will deliver. So I'd say the player that won't get as much attention and will be out maybe in red zone offensive plays um, is the person to watch would be Tim Wright. You heard it here, Tim Wright. I think he's gonna. If the Patriots win, Tim Wright will have a lot to do with it. I'll just say that. Gronkowski has a big bullseye on his chest, so he may kind of get taken away strategically by the Ravens, but that'll leave Tim Wright open, and I think Brady will find him for at least one touchdown in this game. All right, second game we have the number 4 Panthers. He only won 7 games all year, and they beat the Cardinals last week. Going into the number 1 ranked Seattle Seahawks. It looked shaky for the Seahawks for a while. Um, it came down to the last game to find out if they're going to be the number 1 ranked team. Let's just be honest. Weeks 6 through 9, that 4 game stretch was their toughest stretch. They lost to the Cowboys in week 6 at home. They lost to the Rams on the road. They barely beat these Panthers, by 4 points. And then week 9, they barely beat the Raiders by 6 points. Um, so they didn't have a dominant season by all means. They they look vulnerable. And these Panthers defense, it's pretty tough. The Panthers do have a great shot at pulling up an upset. But looking at the injury report, their starting defensive right tackle, he looks to be out for the game. I could be wrong. They, may have him starting or coming off the bench, but it looks like Dwan Edwards would take his place, and it's kind of a wash. I mean, um, Starr is in his second full season, and Dwan's played 11 full seasons, so maybe conditioning or um, I don't know. I think it's not that big of a loss. Dwan Edwards seemed to be a pretty good substitute. Anyways, back in week 8, the Panthers lost 13-9. That was, I believe, at Carolina. This one's in Seattle. Seattle has only lost 1 game this season at home. That was to the Cowboys. And hey, maybe it sets up for a rematch for next week. But I do have the Seahawks winning, um, and winning big. I think they're gonna pretty much keep Cam Newton in check, get him to make a couple mistakes, capitalize off of those, intercept the ball, maybe cause a fumble. But yeah, I don't see this as a close game. I think Seattle wins, maybe 32-17, something of that nature, almost doubling their score. So I see the Seahawks covering the spread. Um, and yeah, Panthers made a valiant effort. On the road, they were 3-4-1. They were kind of shaky, but Seahawks, they have no notable injuries. They're pretty much healthy. And let's face it, that stadium is torture for any visitor. I mean, the Cowboys made it, but that's also a time where Seattle was very vulnerable. They just weren't themselves. Um, Seattle's riding a 6 game win streak. Uh, I don't know. I think they'll win by, I don't know, 14, 15 points. So I say Seattle 32, Panthers 17, something to that effect. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, well, YouTube, that does it for this video. Let me just do a little recap. I have the Ravens pulling off the upset, beating the Patriots. We'll just say 24-21. That's my final score. And the Seahawks covering the spread, beating the Panthers 32-17. So, oh, also, quick reminder, the Seahawk-Panther game is at 5:15 on Fox. First game 1:35 on NBC. Second game 5:15 on Fox. Well, this has been GHombre with a quick prediction for this weekend. Keep it G, y'all.